Welcome to the CPR My Career Recruiting Floor. Hi, my name is John Schrupp, and we will be talking about building a professional brand using LinkedIn. The key to building a brand online is to build a brand revolving around all of the keywords associated with you and your profession. So many of us work really hard to get reemployed, and not many of us are taking the correct approach. And the working with thousands and thousands of active job seekers between age 40 and 65, we've learned from a few of the best of the best. And some of the best job seekers that I personally have run into over the years were excellent at leveraging all of their contacts within LinkedIn the right way. And a key area that individuals really have succeeded in the past at getting reemployed is that they're excellent at branding themselves and tying themselves to their profession. And an easy way to do that is through the use of LinkedIn groups. So I'm going to walk through a few steps here that can really make a difference in your job search. So up here next to the search window to the left is a drop down area. Click on that little drop down box and then select groups. Now with your profession, I would like you to type out that a title of a position you would take. Let's say, mechanical engineering. We'll start there. Now, there are some group suggestions here. There are a few here. Now, mechanical engineers can also be known as process engineers or design engineers. So all of the associated job titles that you potentially could have and related professions, I'd like you to type those out to get a listing of the groups associated with your industry and your profession, and then join as many as you see fit. You can join up to 50 groups within LinkedIn. Once you join these groups, and this is going to take a day to a week to get approved by many of these groups, then what you can do is go under interests and groups, and LinkedIn does a really nice job of summarizing all of these groups for you. And what's really interesting is they'll identify your most active groups. Those groups are the groups that you want to zoom in on, and those groups are the ones that you want to become active with. I would pick 3 or 4 groups, and I would make sure that one of these groups is a localized group. Okay. And in picking this group, I'll use this recruiter.com network as an example. Click on that. Let's get into a group. Now, what they're going to do is they're going to show you how many members. Now, this is a huge group. Now, LinkedIn no longer allows groups this large. Any group today that's created today, max number of members can be, I believe, is around 20,000 that they'll allow. But there's some old historical groups out there. They're substantial. But regardless, what we have found that our best of the best job seekers will do is they'll go out and every Monday morning, Tuesday morning, and Thursday morning, they will start a discussion within 3 or 4 groups. They'll use the same discussion, the same points in all groups. So they're not coming up with 4 unique conversations to have. It's one unique conversation per day, spread amongst 4 groups. And they will start a discussion. They'll have a real strong title loaded with keywords, and they will write out 2 or 3 sentences about that particular topic, and then they will encourage participation. And that's all they're doing. Now, if they are at a loss for words, they might even link a third-party article, and you can see that being done here. There's a third-party article. You can see that being done here. There's a third-party article. And it's almost like you get credit for being the author, even though you're not the author. But what you're essentially doing is you're branding yourself. You're bringing all of these keywords that you type in a particular discussion, and you are tying those keywords to your name and your professional image consistently. And if you do this 3 times a week for an extended period of time, think of the old business class that you had back in college or back in high school. And you remember when they talked about how many times someone had to have an impression before they started to recognize a brand or an ad? Well, that's what you're doing here. Also, what you're doing is you're making yourself, and along with tying yourself to all these keywords, you're making all of that information searchable by LinkedIn. And I personally believe LinkedIn Well, it has to be in the top three sourcing resources for employers and recruiting firms out there, meaning one of the top three areas to find new candidates. Well, when you buy a recruiter license with LinkedIn, and that's how a recruiting firm or a major employer would use LinkedIn. They would buy a recruiter license. That allows that recruiter to search and explore all 150 million or so profiles that are out on LinkedIn. And so without being connected to these individuals. So by building your brand within these various groups that you should be active in anyway, what you're doing is making yourself available to these search engines. So now recruiters and hiring managers and HR directors can start to find you. And when they do find you, they're going to really like what they see because they're going to see you're active, current, on top of your game, well networked. Because I tell you what, when someone's going to hire someone, all of us, so many of our job seekers are worried about age discrimination or this or that, all these things. But you know, in reality, they want to know that you're active, current with it. And when they're hiring you, they want to know they're not just hiring you, that because you're so well networked that you'll be able to get the answer. If you don't know it yourself, you have a great network to solve the problem, to get the work done. And that's what's great about hiring someone with experience is you're not only hiring them, you're hiring their network and they're checking to make sure that network is active. So that's how you can actively build your brand. Now, if you're actively seeking a new position and you're unemployed, so you're not concerned about an employer seeing what you have to say on LinkedIn, 30 days into building that brand within LinkedIn, right here, what you can do is you can list out a statement that would say, actively seeking a new position. These are the skill sets I bring to the table. And then list out those solutions that you bring to the table. Of the 8 best job seekers that I've run into over the years, all 8 followed that exact process, and 3 of the 8 were rehired when they posted that last bullet about actively seeking a new position. Once again, what they've done is build a substantial brand with all the members of a particular group and then let them know that they're available and great things happen. Thank you for taking the time today to listen to our spot on building a brand on LinkedIn, and please continue reviewing our videos.